Hey, Tony Gas is here. Now, somebody asked me a good question. She said, can you do a video talking about what makes a man fall in love? Now, the first thing with this you got to understand is two types of men. There's grown boys and grown men. Now, grown boys are turned on by pleasure, meaning things that lead to pain, not happiness. Grown boys seeking pleasure, typically these grown boys watch porn. They watch porn, they masturbate, they may have other vices, just things that tickle their fancy, things that make them feel good. See, a grown man is more so focused on substance, longevity, something that will last, something that means something. So a lot of women deal with grown boys. So with a grown boy, it is important for a woman to focus on the things that stroke a man's ego, like cooking his food every day, cleaning up after him, doing his laundry, having sex every day. You know, I heard a lost young lady say that she give her man oral every day. One of the saddest things I've ever heard, just because for one, it's just not necessary, and two, strippers and prostitutes don't even do that. So that's one of the misconceptions. Now, in order to make a grown man fall in love, a grown man is going to fall in love with a woman who is more of an accountability partner, not a nagger, meaning a nag is like just always bringing up stuff, always just harping on different stuff, always just barking, just always yappity yap. That's nagging. But accountability partner is someone who can hear a man's dreams, help him create a plan, and then hold them accountable along the way with support, encouragement, affirmation, just like a good friend, basically what you would expect from a good friend. See, a man falls in love with a woman who can help him become better, not enable him and stroke his ego and let him do what he want to do. So a lot of times a woman feels like a woman doesn't know what a man can adapt to. So sex every day is not necessary, nor is it sustainable, nor is it even appreciated. I'm not sure how a man could have sex with a woman every day and his body part not get sore just from, the friction. Just, it is a piece of flesh that's being rubbed against, vigorously, and that causes friction. And that becomes painful after a while. So if a man literally needs sex every day and even multiple times a day, it should let a woman know that this man has far greater problems than she can see. And she could realize this man has an addiction. This man is sick. He needs therapy. But a real man is a warrior, meaning he's a spiritual warrior. He goes to war in the dark when no one is looking, and he wars against the vices and the things of the world that are trying to slow him down and hold him back. So this man develops a certain stoicism and emotional intelligence and indescribable strength that does not require pleasure every day or his ego to be stroked or a sexual release, constantly or often or even every other day. And the reason being is because the test of the world and what a man has to do on a daily basis is going to require focus. And the more sex a man is having, the less focused he'll be, because he's so hawked up on pleasure that he is not given the opportunity to develop self-discipline and self-control. But a woman operating in her femininity, which means she's in touch with herself, she's not a sex slave, she's not a servant, she is a supporter, she is a life giver, she is a positive influence, a positive presence, but she's not a slave. So a woman being in tune with herself means that she can feel her emotions, she can feel her body, and as her hormones are changing and she is going through the ebbs and flows of life, there will be days where she feels sexual and there will be days that she doesn't feel sexual. And on the days that she doesn't feel sexual, she's working to create balance, not find balance, but create balance in her life, and to get to a place in her life where she can give of herself. And in the times where she needs to pour into herself and she needs self-love and self-care, she is strong enough and confident enough to articulate, hey, I need me today. And at the same time, she is able to balance that fine line, and balancing that with understanding that in a relationship as spouses, we have to also be willing to give when we don't feel like giving. And we can't make it a constant habit of not feeling like giving. And a part of giving, a part of sacrifice is giving when you don't feel like giving. So this woman who is capable of having a man fall in love with her, she stands her ground. She gives, she loves, she sacrifices, she supports, but she doesn't reinforce toxic behavior. She doesn't allow herself to be mistreated, taken for granted, ran over. She will compromise, but it's a healthy compromise. She doesn't compromise her self-respect. She doesn't compromise her self-worth. She doesn't compromise her morals and her values. She may compromise on things that they don't really hold true consequence in life like that. They don't relate to her eternity and where she will spend eternity. Meaning she's not going to compromise and give a man a threesome if fornication and adultery is against her belief system. But she may compromise and give of herself when she's not at 100% strength and energy, because she knows that her husband needs her. And she's also woman enough to ask when she's not 100% and she needs him to give of himself more, even though he may not feel like it. She is woman enough to speak up and express herself and ask for what she needs versus manipulating or coercing or using reverse psychology. She's able to say, hey, I need this. And she's also able to say, hey, I'm going to give this even though I don't feel like giving it. And she's not saying it verbally, she's saying it with her actions. And that's the type of woman that a man falls in love with. So what a lot of women have confused is a lot of women feel like a man falls in love with a doormat. And then some women have bought into the concept of men love mean women, the B word, as the book calls it. But that's not true, because a woman standing her ground and loving herself and not being a doormat should not be equated to her being the B word. It's her being a strong, loving woman. And we have to correct that and not just get caught up in titles of books used for shock value to sell books, and really understand the true meaning. It's just a man will fall in love with a woman who loves herself, who knows who she is, who has boundaries, who has standards, who knows what she is capable of, what she's willing to do and to give, and what she is not willing or capable of. And that's the type of woman that a man grows to love and respect. And that's the type of woman that a man does not want to lose. So what has happened is women have been tricked or conditioned somehow to give a man what he doesn't deserve, and to give boyfriends husband benefits, and to bend over backwards and to slave for a man, and to cook and clean and do all of the above for a boyfriend. And then a lot of those women get a husband and become complacent. They get the husband and feel like they've crossed the finish line and have to do nothing else, and don't realize that a real man will leave you when you break the covenant, you break the vow, and that you cannot finesse a real man, that you have to continuously and honestly give from a pure and righteous space. And it can't be rooted in manipulation and deception and finesse. It has to be real. It has to be authentic. It has to be consistent. And a real man is going to give that in return. And not only is he going to give it in return, he's going to give above and beyond. He's going to give more than the woman gives, because a man is going to take the lead. He's going to be a front liner. He's going to stand in front, and he's going to absorb, take the bullets of the world, and he's going to endure so that he can shield and protect his woman. And whatever she gives, he's going to give that and more, because a real man is a giver, not a taker. And when a man falls in love with a woman, it's unbreakable. It's unbreakable. It's immovable. And it does not end. That love does not end. A woman can go back on who she was, and she can change, and she can hurt that man, betray that man, but he'll love her even if he has to love her from a distance, because he's already decided to love her and give that love. And she will lose out and miss out on the love of a lifetime. And what women have to understand is that a man needs a woman to be strong, not weak, to be confident, not insecure, to be consistent, not inconsistent, to be loving and supporting, not doubting, nagging, and negative. So what a lot of women think makes a man fall in love is completely wrong. It really makes a man fall in lust and complacency. So women who want to have sex every day, do oral every day, cook every day, clean every day, and just march to the beat of the man, it feels good to the man, and it definitely will stroke our ego, but it won't garner respect. It won't garner love. It'll just be accepted and rarely reciprocated, because it hasn't been earned. It's not due to the man. And a man will not really be able to process it and appreciate it the way that a woman would want him to process and appreciate. And then she may end up stepping out of the marriage because she's not being appreciated, and not realizing that she became a slave and a doormat, and didn't put her herself in a position to be appreciated and respected, because she never had self-identity. She never had self-worth. She never knew who she was and what she wanted and what she needed. She just tried to win a man's heart by giving him everything she thought he needed, which real men, we need not only support, but we need accountability. And accountability means holding us responsible for our words, actions, deeds, and everything. Meaning not letting a man get away with being less than a man, and get away with being a taker, a liar, a deceiver, a manipulator. And so when women understand that their power is in standing their ground in love, not in irrationality and rambunctiousness and arrogance and pride and all of these things, but standing your ground in love, in self-love, in self-worth, in self-respect, and understanding that no is your right. And saying the word no to certain things is necessary. And when women start to understand that, then that's when you're going to see a shift with the men, because men respect who and what respects themselves. And because men are devourers, men are warriors, men are hunters, if a man senses that there is something or someone who doesn't value themselves and respect themselves, it's going to be hard for a man to value and respect, because of the nature of a man is to conquer. So when a woman shows that she's not an opponent to be conquered, but she is a teammate to be conjoined, to be partnered with, then that's when a man sees the woman in her true essence, in her true light, and he can partner with her on this journey we call life. But it comes to a woman having agency over her life and knowing who she is, what she is, whose she is, and what she will and won't do. And that brings all the power. So what I want women to understand is the stronger you are, the more confident you are, the more consistent you are, the more expressive you are from a place of emotional intelligence, not crying and nagging and complaining and whimpering and begging, but being confident, being strong, speaking up. The more you're able to do that as a woman, the better off you're going to be. So, hey, this is Tony Gaston. God bless you. We'll talk soon.